Rapper Tory Lanez has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for shooting and wounding the US hip-hop star.
July 2020 forever altered Tory Lanez's path. The Canadian rapper, born Schemmel Schwab Peterson, fired a single shot that reshaped his life and career in ways no one could have predicted. Lanez had first stepped into the spotlight with his 2013 mixtape, Conflicts of My Soul, the 416 story. His fusion of hip-hop and R&B quickly captured industry attention, landing him a deal with Benny Blanco's Mad Love Records. But from that promising start, his career would soon become a mix of meteoric rises and dramatic controversies. By July 2020, Lanez made headlines for all the wrong reasons. After attending a party at Kylie Jenner's home, an altercation with Megan Thee Stallion escalated into violence when she mocked his rapping skills. In a shocking turn of events, Lanez fired a gun at her foot. Despite repeatedly denying responsibility, Lanez faced the full weight of the law. He was convicted on 3 counts: assault with a semi-automatic firearm, carrying a loaded unregistered firearm in a vehicle, and grossly negligent discharge of a firearm. August 2023 brought another turning point. Lanez received a 10-year prison sentence at California's North Kern State Prison. This punishment reflected not only the physical harm he caused Megan, but also his efforts to damage her reputation. Megan and her legal team presented evidence that Lanez had paid bloggers to spread falsehoods and downplay her trauma. While serving his time, Lanez's high-profile status has brought unique challenges. He remains in administrative segregation, spending most days in isolation under constant surveillance from guards, his every move watched. Tory Lanez's time behind bars is anything but ordinary. To ensure his safety, guards escort him wherever he goes: showers, toilets, and even the rare moments of outdoor recreation. His isolation is near total, confined to a fenced-off area away from the general population. Lanez doesn't join other inmates for meals either. Instead, food is brought directly to his cell. Only a limited number of visitors are allowed, and it's unclear whether anyone beyond his legal team ever stops by. Physical vulnerability is another challenge. At just 5'3", Lanez stands out among the prison's towering population. North Kern State Prison, infamous for inmate altercations, offers no refuge from potential threats. In such a volatile environment, Lanez's smaller stature makes him an easy target, though constant security measures aim to keep him out of harm's way. Despite it all, Lanez holds firm to his claims of innocence, placing his faith in his legal team to overturn his convictions and secure his release from these harsh conditions. Meanwhile, another high-profile case surfaced in October 2021 when an indictment was unsealed against rapper Fetty Wap. The charges were serious enough to put his career at risk. Willie Jr. Maxwell II, known to fans as Fetty Wap, burst onto the music scene in 2014 with Trap Queen, a hit that reached #2 on the US Billboard Hot 100. His subsequent singles, including 679 and My Way, further solidified his fame. With his unique blend of rapping and singing, Fetty Wap quickly gained recognition for his melodic style and memorable hooks. Fetty Wap's journey hasn't been easy from the start. Born with glaucoma in both eyes, he faced serious challenges early in life. Doctors couldn't save his left eye, resulting in the use of an ocular prosthesis. Despite this, he pressed on, attending Eastside High School before eventually dropping out to focus entirely on his music career. At his peak, Fetty Wap achieved recognition few artists could match. He earned 2 Grammy nominations and in 2016 won Best New Artist at the iHeartRadio Music Awards, as well as Top New Artist at the Billboard Music Awards. But his meteoric rise would ultimately face a sharp downturn due to legal troubles. In October 2021, Fetty Wap was arrested and later sentenced to 6 years in prison for drug trafficking. The charges were severe: conspiracy to distribute and possess controlled substances, including cocaine, heroin, fentanyl, and crack cocaine. As a convicted drug trafficker, he found himself navigating a hostile environment behind bars. Fellow inmates and even staff regarded him with distrust and often targeted him for extortion, violence, and exploitation. Within the prison walls, drug sales and usage continued to surge, making Fetty Wap a closely watched individual. Authorities monitored him to prevent any potential attempts to resume illegal activities. Beyond that, his time in prison has been marked by disciplinary issues, including involvement in fights, which could lead to extended sentences if found guilty of additional illegal acts such as smuggling or dealing drugs. On another note, back in October 2018, rapper YNW Melly faced his own legal troubles. He left a recording studio with 2 associates from his label, only for them to be found dead shortly after. The aftermath led to Melly's arrest and a cascade of serious charges. YNW Melly burst onto the hip-hop scene with his emotionally charged single Murder on My Mind, captivating fans through raw lyrics and poignant storytelling. But by October 26, 2018, Melly, real name Jamel Demons, would find himself embroiled in a case that rocked the music world. Authorities allege that Melly was involved in the deaths of his close friends, Anthony YNW Sackchaser Williams and Christopher YNW Juvie Thomas Jr. On February 13, 2019, he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Prosecutors accused Melly and an accomplice of staging the crime scene to appear like a drive-by shooting. The case against him relied heavily on forensic evidence and video footage. Investigators claimed that forensic analysis and video clearly placed Melly in a seat identified as the point of origin for the fatal gunfire. Contrary to Melly's assertion that the deaths occurred during a drive-by, prosecutors presented evidence showing that the bullets had been fired from inside the car. This damning evidence led to his ongoing incarceration, where he now awaits further legal proceedings. Life behind bars has brought its own set of struggles for Melly. In an Instagram post, he detailed his treatment in jail, describing harsh conditions and alleging constant monitoring. He claimed to be housed in a vacant unit without phone access, television, or newspapers, while being closely watched to prevent communication with the outside world. By May 2022, his situation worsened when authorities revoked his phone privileges altogether. Officials cited multiple rule violations, including allegations that he made thousands of unauthorized calls under the pretense of speaking with his legal team. As Melly's legal battles continue, his time in jail remains fraught with controversy and adversity. The complications in Melly's case don't stop at allegations of murder. Both he and his lawyer, Raven Liberty, were accused of breaching prison protocol by sharing login credentials for unauthorized video calls. This purported misconduct led to additional sanctions, including accusations that Melly instructed his girlfriend to pose as Miss Liberty during these calls. However, Melly has denied these claims, maintaining that his phone privileges were unfairly revoked over a single rule violation, using another inmate's phone PIN. He argued that his privileges should have been reinstated after 30 days, as outlined in the facility's guidelines, but he says this never happened. Beyond these communication issues, Melly faced even more scrutiny in October 2022 when reports surfaced of an alleged escape plot. Prosecutors claimed that Melly and other inmates, including Nicholas Lewis, had been planning a breakout for 6 months. The controversy deepened when one of Melly's attorneys was accused of attempting to smuggle in a handcuff key. Although a search of Melly's cell uncovered a 6-inch shank, razor blades, lighters, rolling papers, and unauthorized prescription drugs, no handcuff key was found. Even so, prison officials stayed alert, fearing that the key might still be on its way into the facility. Meanwhile, in May 2020, another prominent rapper, Young Thug, was arrested in Atlanta on serious gang-related charges. Prosecutors brought forth a 56-count indictment under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, RICO, along with allegations of illegal substance possession and illegal firearms. The legal woes of these hip-hop stars highlight the complex and often dramatic challenges they face both inside and outside of the prison system. These charges are part of a larger case involving 28 other individuals alleged to be members of the Young Stoner Life record label, which prosecutors claim functions as a criminal street gang. While being held at the Cobb County Jail, Young Thug's treatment has sparked controversy. He's kept in solitary confinement under reportedly harsh conditions, described by some as dungeon-like, in an effort to shield him from potential attacks. His ties to organized crime have cast a shadow over him, prompting prison officials to maintain strict separation from the general inmate population. This isolation is intended to prevent him from wielding influence or orchestrating illicit activities from behind bars. Throughout his incarceration, Young Thug has repeatedly sought release on bail, but each request has been denied. The court remains concerned that he poses a threat to public safety and could potentially intimidate witnesses. To counter these fears, Young Thug offered multiple concessions, hiring off-duty police officers to monitor him at home, limiting visitors to a court-approved list, wearing a GPS tracker and allowing his communications to be monitored. Despite these assurances, the court has not granted him bail. In another high-profile case, rapper Casanova became the target of a violent prison attack in June 2023 after publicly renouncing his membership in the notorious Gorilla Stone Nation gang. Born Caswell Sr., the Haitian-American rapper gained fame for his high-energy performances and vivid, unfiltered storytelling. But his career took a dark turn when he was indicted on RICO charges alongside 17 others for his alleged leadership role in the Gorilla Stone Nation. Prosecutors tied the gang to multiple violent acts across New York City. This wasn't Casanova's first encounter with the law. He was previously arrested at 18 and served time on Rikers Island, where he developed a bond with his cellmate, who would later become known as rapper $AP Rocky. On June 29, 2023, Casanova was sentenced to over 15 years in prison for multiple federal offenses, marking another grim chapter in his troubled journey. Prior to his sentencing, Casanova encountered additional disciplinary trouble following a viral TikTok challenge. On February 3, 2021, a video posted by his girlfriend, known on Instagram as Swaggy Jazzy, showed him performing a popular dance during a visit at the Westchester County Department of Correction in Valhalla, New York. The challenge typically involved dancing in unusual locations, and Casanova joined in during a jail visit. He even shared the clip on Instagram, captioned "Carefree," which many found amusing. However, the authorities didn't take it lightly. As a result, his visiting rights were revoked, and he faced further disciplinary measures for failing to wear a mask as required by the facility's regulations at the time. These minor infractions were overshadowed by far more serious events. By June 2023, Casanova's situation became increasingly perilous. After renouncing his ties to the Gorilla Stone Nation Bloods, he became a marked man. In a letter to the judge, he expressed his desire to cut all affiliations with the gang and pleaded for leniency. His family and friends also submitted statements in support of a lighter sentence. But this public severance from the gang painted a target on his back. Just days later, reports emerged of a violent attack at Essex County Correctional Facility. The attacker, an inmate named Ulysses Lugo, cornered Casanova in a relatively secluded hallway and slashed his face with a blade-like weapon. Casanova tried to fend off the attack, responding swiftly despite the injury. Blood streamed down his face and stained his uniform as he defended himself, showing the survival instincts he'd honed from years of gang involvement. The incident underscored the daily threats Casanova faced behind bars as a high-profile former gang member. After the initial altercation, Casanova and other inmates pursued Lugo down the prison hall, catching up to him and reportedly leaving him with multiple facial cuts. While the exact reasons for targeting Lugo's face are unclear, speculation has surfaced. Some believe it could be linked to the Buck 50, a gang initiation practice associated with the Bloods, where prospective members are said to slash a civilian's face with a blade to earn entry. This notion remains unconfirmed, but it highlights the rumors and tension swirling around prison violence. Following the attack, authorities began an investigation. No weapons were found in the immediate aftermath, though officials reported seeing an inmate attempt to flush an object down a toilet. As of now, the incident is still under review, with no official conclusions reported. Meanwhile, another troubled rapper's life took a grim turn in July 2022. Mystical, born Michael Tyler, faced a confrontation with a female acquaintance that escalated into violence, an incident that could potentially result in a lifetime behind bars. Known for his unmistakable brash vocal delivery and distinctive rasp, Mystical had once enjoyed significant success. Many of his tracks and albums reached the Billboard Hot 100 and 200, marking him as a prominent figure in hip-hop. But despite his career achievements, Mystical's legal history cast a long shadow. In 2003, he pled guilty to charges of sexual battery and extortion after forcing his hairstylist into unwanted acts involving him and 2 bodyguards. He served 6 years in prison for this offense. In 2017, he faced a kidnapping indictment, spending 18 months in jail before being released on a $3 million bond. Even after these incidents, Mystical was required to register as an offender. While some believed he might have turned a corner, the cycle continued when he was once again arrested on a charge of first-degree rape, solidifying his troubling legacy. In July 2022, Mystical found himself in yet another legal firestorm, this time involving allegations of violent assault and sexual misconduct. Authorities claim that an encounter with a female acquaintance at his home in Louisiana's Ascension Parish spiraled out of control after Mystical accused her of theft. Reports suggest that what began as verbal confrontation quickly turned physical. Mystical allegedly pulled her hair, repeatedly punched her, and even coerced her into praying with him before sexually assaulting her. He's also accused of taking her car keys and cell phone, preventing her from leaving or seeking help. If convicted on the first-degree charges, Mystical faces a mandatory life sentence. Despite his prior convictions and prison time for similar crimes, Mystical has pleaded not guilty to the current charges. He remains behind bars without bail as his legal battles continue. Life in jail hasn't been easy for Mystical, and his celebrity status offers no reprieve. He's frequently targeted by other inmates looking to assert dominance. Fights break out for trivial reasons. Some he manages to win, while others leave him beaten down. The guards, indifferent to his fame, treat him the same as any other prisoner. Additionally, his past offenses have made him a marked man among the inmate population. Ambushes often occur in isolated parts of the prison, like the chow hall, and they don't stop even if guards are present. For his own safety, Mystical usually eats alone and spends much of his time in solitary confinement. Even during outdoor time, he avoids groups, staying apart to minimize the risk of being attacked. C. Murder, born Corey Miller, has been incarcerated for over 2 decades, serving a life sentence in Louisiana. Yet over time, questions have arisen about the fairness of his conviction. The events in question took place on January 12, 2002, at Louisiana's Platinum Club, where 16-year-old Steve Thomas was beaten and shot. Just 6 days later, C. Murder was arrested, initially for causing a disturbance at the House of Blues in New Orleans, before being charged with Thomas's murder. 2 witnesses from the nightclub, bouncer Darnell Jordan and Kenneth Jordan, testified that they saw C. Murder shoot Thomas. Based on their accounts, a jury found him guilty in August 2009, resulting in a mandatory life sentence. C. Murder has described his experience in prison as inhumane. But in December 2022, his defense team filed an appeal, bolstered by the recantations of both key witnesses. Kenneth Jordan signed an affidavit claiming he identified C. Murder only under pressure and that the rapper was not the shooter. Darnell Jordan also wrote a letter asserting his certainty that C. Murder was not responsible for the shooting. Additionally, the rapper's attorney Philip C. Hamilton emphasized that no physical evidence ever linked C. Murder to the crime. No gun, no DNA, and no definitive proof, leaving the case's original conviction increasingly under scrutiny. There was no surveillance footage, no confession. The entire case against C. Murder hinged on the testimonies of 2 witnesses who claimed to have seen the shooting. Despite new affidavits casting doubt on these statements, his appeal was denied. C. Murder continues to endure the harsh realities of life behind bars. On February 23, 2023, C. Murder announced on social media that he had begun a hunger strike, protesting the conditions at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center. He alleged that his health had deteriorated severely due to a lack of proper medical care. In his own words, "My health has significantly declined due to the prison system's inhumane conditions, and I'm not getting proper medical treatment. This has taken a major toll on me, but I refuse to give up. Please stand with me as I push for my innocence." This call for help caught the attention of several high-profile celebrities, including Drake, Snoop Dogg, and Kim Kardashian, all of whom have voiced support for his release. C. Murder's publicist Lisa Jackson and manager Steven Johnson have also enlisted Kardashian's help in raising awareness about his situation and the efforts to overturn his conviction. In a separate case, rapper Tay K, born Tamor Trayvon McIntyre, found infamy both for his hit single The Race and for his involvement in a tragic murder case. His rise to fame was inextricably linked to his troubled past, growing up in an environment deeply intertwined with gang culture. With a father and mother reportedly tied to the baby insane Crips, Tay K seemed destined to follow the same path, finding himself drawn into gangs and crime at a young age. Tay K's music career first gained momentum when he joined the group Daytona Boys and later released the solo track Biff Zanin on SoundCloud. But it wasn't until his breakout single The Race dropped that he truly shot into the limelight. The song, recorded while he was fleeing authorities, made a massive impact, peaking at number 44 on the Billboard Hot 100. However, Tay K's rapid ascent came to a sudden halt on June 30, 2017, The same day, The Race was released. After 3 months as a fugitive, U.S. Marshals arrested him in connection with a home invasion that led to the death of 21-year-old Ethan Walker. According to investigators, Tay and his accomplices targeted Walker's home in an attempt to steal drugs and money, but the plan ended in tragedy. Walker was fatally shot, and Tay was soon facing multiple felony charges. In July 2019, Tay went to trial. Some of his co-defendants accepted plea deals, testifying against him in exchange for lighter sentences, one receiving only 10 years of probation. Although Tay was not convicted of capital murder, the jury found him guilty of murder and 3 counts of aggravated robbery. He was sentenced to 55 years for Walker's murder, 30 years for 1 count of aggravated robbery, and 26 years each for the remaining 2 counts. The sentences were set to run concurrently, with parole eligibility only after 28 years. Even behind bars, Tay has remained vocal, often using social media to keep fans informed about his life in prison. On January 17, 2023, he shared an update through social media, revealing that his circumstances were anything but easy. Tay has been outspoken about his life behind bars, claiming that the correctional officers exacerbate the struggle he faces internally. "I feel like a hamster in here," he tweeted, followed by another post where he likened his experience to being treated like a ferret in here right now. Although he hasn't provided many details, his frustration is clear. The daily monotony and lack of freedom weigh heavily on him, leaving him feeling trapped in a cycle he can't escape. Beyond his current conditions, Tay has also expressed strong opinions about his sentencing. He believes that his race played a role in the severity of his punishment. In one tweet, he wrote, "I bet if I was a little white kid, they wouldn't have gave me no 55 years for a crime I was alleged to play the most insignificant role in when I was 16. They would have rightfully argued that my mind wasn't fully developed and gave me rehabilitation and a second first chance at adulthood." He longs for that opportunity at a second chance, though it seems unlikely as another trial looms. In this upcoming trial, Tay faces charges for allegedly shooting and killing 23-year-old Mark Anthony Saldivar. If convicted, he could receive an additional sentence of up to 20 years. With his current record, the outcome of this case carries significant weight, potentially adding more years to his already lengthy incarceration. The case of Big Lurch presents another stark reminder of the consequences of violent actions. On April 9, 2002, Antron Big Lurch Singleton consumed a large dose of PCP, unaware of how drastically it would alter his mind. The drug led him to commit a crime so shocking that his career as a hip-hop artist came to an abrupt and permanent end. Born on September 15, 1976, in East Dallas, Texas, Big Lurch showed an early talent for poetry, beginning at just 7 years old. As a young artist, his life would eventually take a dark and tragic turn that overshadowed his early promise. Big Lurch gained attention in the hip-hop community for his dark and unconventional subject matter, rapping about serial killers, vampires, and even cannibalism. This unique approach set him apart, and he joined the rap collective Cosmic Slop Shop. The group's album produced the track Sinful, which achieved modest chart success, reaching number 66 on the Billboard Hot R&B/Hip Hop chart and number 18 on the Billboard Hot Rap chart. Despite his distinct style, Big Lurch struggled to achieve widespread fame. In search of greater opportunities, he relocated to Los Angeles, where he worked with notable artists like Mac Dre, Tone Capone, and E40. However, his career took a devastating turn following a serious car accident that left him with a broken neck. Seeking relief from his pain, he turned to PCP, a powerful hallucinogen, becoming increasingly reliant on the drug. This dependency began to influence his music, driving his lyrics into darker, more disturbing territory. On April 10, 2002, his downward spiral culminated in an unimaginable tragedy. While under the influence of PCP, Big Lurch killed his 21-year-old roommate, Tynesha Isais, in a grisly attack. Her chest was mutilated, her lungs ripped out, and a broken blade was found lodged in her shoulder. The crime scene was marked by bite marks on her face. When authorities apprehended Big Lurch, he was naked, blood-covered, and gazing at the sky. A subsequent medical examination revealed human flesh in his stomach. flesh that did not belong to him. According to Issais's boyfriend, both she and Big Lurch had used PCP, also known as angel dust, the day before the murder. On November 7, 2003, Big Lurch was convicted of first-degree murder, torture, and aggravated mayhem. Despite his plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, the court deemed his drug-induced state and insanity claims insufficient to excuse the crime. He received 2 consecutive life sentences without parole, closing the chapter on what had once been a promising career and leaving behind a chilling legacy. Since his conviction, Big Lurch has been serving his life sentence at Kern Valley State Prison in Kern County, California. Due to the shocking nature of his crimes, including cannibalism, he remains deeply isolated and ostracized within the prison community. Both inmates and staff view him with a mix of disgust and fear, and his presence has left him largely cut off from the rest of the population. For his own safety and due to his notoriety, Lurch has been confined to a high-security unit, often placed in solitary confinement to prevent retaliation. This level of security also comes with restricted privileges, limited phone access, no internet connectivity, and constant surveillance. His interactions with others are minimal, rendering his life behind bars far more isolating than that of many other inmates. Outside the prison walls, the impact of Lurch's crimes still reverberates. The mother of the victim, Tynesha Isais, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Black Market Records. She claimed the label provided Lurch with drugs, promoting his violent behavior to enhance his image as a gangster rap artist. Although these allegations have not lessened his sentence, they serve as a stark reminder of the tragic consequences surrounding his actions. For Big Lurch, there is no prospect of release. He is destined to remain in prison for the rest of his life. Meanwhile, another rapper, 9 Lock 9, faced his own downfall after a brief rise in the music industry. Born Javari Deshaun Smith in Orlando, Florida, 9 Lock 9 gained recognition with a guest appearance on YNW Melly's single 223S, which reached number 34 on the Billboard Hot 100. Despite this success, his career became overshadowed by a series of legal troubles. 9 Lock 9's encounters with the law began at an early age, escalating into serious charges over time. His record includes convictions for firearm possession as a felon and even attempted murder. In October 2018, 9 Lock 9 was arrested on multiple charges, including possession of a concealed weapon by a convicted felon, third-degree grand theft, and marijuana possession, under 20 grams. These early run-ins with the law foreshadowed a pattern of continued legal struggles, tarnishing what could have been a promising career in hip-hop. In June 2029, 9 Lock 9 found himself back in trouble with the law after being arrested in Orlando. Authorities charged him with a staggering 17 offenses, including the distribution of marijuana and unlawful possession of firearms. Among these charges, possessing cannabis with intent to distribute stood out as particularly serious. Additionally, he faced charges for possessing a firearm as a convicted felon and third-degree grand theft of a firearm. These mounting legal issues would only grow more severe. By July 2021, federal charges brought 9 Lock 9's criminal activities to a breaking point. The rapper faced accusations of possessing an unregistered firearm, committing aggravated identity theft to fraudulently obtain Paycheck Protection Program funds, and felony possession of a firearm and ammunition. The most alarming charges involved multiple counts of attempted second-degree murder. Prosecutors alleged that 9 Lock 9 fired a gun at an Orlando residence, targeting another rapper. A witness claimed the motivation was simple. 9 Lock 9 wanted to be the sole rapper representing Orlando. On December 15, 2021, he was sentenced to 7 years and 3 months in federal prison. While incarcerated, the rapper's appearance changed significantly, sparking discussions among fans. In a post on social media, he captioned a photo with, "But you know, I hold on staying strong, I keep my helmet high." The image showed him sporting an afro instead of his signature dreadlocks and appearing to have gained weight, hinting that he might be working out in prison. Fans speculated on the reason behind his hair change. Some believed he cut off his dreadlocks for safety reasons, possibly to avoid them being used against him by other inmates, or to address hygiene concerns, as maintaining clean dreadlocks can be challenging in prison. As part of a plea deal, 9luck9 was also ordered to pay $10,416 in restitution. Following his release, he will be required to serve 3 years of supervised release and participate in drug treatment, marking the start of a long path toward rebuilding his life after prison.